Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this session of Press Publish with the one and only Irina Slav. Now, I am honored to have Irina join us today because she writes the very first Substack I ever paid for, I ever chose to subscribe to. I immediately got my husband to subscribe as well. And one of the reasons is it's the only authentic. There are other good analysts in the energy sector out there, but Irina always brought a fresh approach, an authentic voice, and deep knowledge of this. I came across Irina's work from a recommendation by Javier Blas over at Bloomberg, whose work I also very much respect. And I'm thrilled. She's one of the very few writers that can also make me laugh while she is talking about some pretty scary stuff. So if any of you don't subscribe to her newsletter, Irina Slav on Energy, I thoroughly recommend it. But that's not all she does. She does a lot of other newsletters as well, which I also very much enjoy. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to let Irina. So first of all, hello, Irina. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you all of you who are joining in the audience. I'll try and wrap up in about the half-hour mark. It's going to be tough because there's so much to talk about. But I want to be respectful of Irina's time. She's busy, and I'm very appreciative she's giving some of it to us today. If you have any questions for her, feel free to drop them in the chat. I do want to stress this is not a session on oil prices. It's not a session on crypto or macros. So I'm going to ignore those questions. But if you want to ask Irina anything about how and why she does what she does and about the newslettering process, do feel free to drop them in there and I'll throw them in. So, Irina, could you please tell us your origins, basically? How your journey? How did you get to where you are today?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for all the kind words you have for me. And I'm shocked that my Substack was recommended to you by Javier Blas.
That's how I came across you. Yes, I like his stuff very much. I'm a happy subscriber of Bloomberg. Happy subscriber of Bloomberg as well. And I think he mentioned you as being one of the top voices to follow. And I hadn't seen your stuff before then. So I clicked over immediately, loved your stuff, saw some videos you did, saw a bunch of Terry Pratchett books in the background. I'm a huge Terry Pratchett fan myself. Yes. And so it was love at first sight, basically.
I see. It's a match made in heaven. I'm so happy to meet you. Well, how did I start? Well, I think I've said this so many times. Not that I do many such appearances, but I started writing about energy at a Bulgarian news agency, and then I went freelance, started working for oilprice.com, and that's how it began. I was the first to write feature articles. Then I started doing some breaking news items, but mostly I do features, and it just turned into a routine. Writing is what I do. Writing is the one thing I'm kind of decent at. I can't do many things, many other things. So writing is what I do, and I found out that the field of energy is really interesting to me, all sorts of energy. I started asking myself questions and started learning more and more about it. And eventually, because I needed a place to be less polite, less civil, and more, more open about what I think about developments in the energy space. So I started the On Energy Substack.
The freedom of not having to take care of a brand for someone else.
Well, not really. I have really a lot of freedom at oilprice.com. Nobody tells me how to write about the things I write about, but I do need to be civil.
Yes.
Because it's not my personal blog. I need to be polite and serious, which is not the case with the Substack, as you know.
Yeah, because they have a particular audience, and one has to be respectful for.
Of course,
Been there myself. I'm not a journalist, but I have worked for media brands, and so again, they have to be respectful of that. And do you find that you learn by writing?
I do. Actually, I think much better when I write, and as I write, I get insight into the topic I'm writing about. I learn by writing.
Yeah, same here. When I want to understand something, I force myself to write about it. I don't force myself because I want to. I write about it, and that helps me realize everything that I thought I understood but didn't.
Yeah, by writing, for example, I imagine myself talking to my readers on Substack.
Mm.
We're just
Um, yeah,
chatting. Yeah.
yeah, I think that helps with the writing also. I've written opinion columns for a long time also for big media brands, and I find them terrifying. They are hard work. But writing long opinion columns for myself is just chatting. It's much easier.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell us about your other products as well. I'm a big fan of Slavs in the Garden. Why that?
Well, it's I needed a distraction because, in all honesty, I don't spend a lot of time writing about energy because I've been doing it for so many years that I can do it quickly.
Mm.
And I end up with some free time, a lot of which I spend in my garden when the weather allows me. And it's also an outlet for daily frustrations because, as we mentioned before we went live, the topics I write about in the energy field are very often really frustrating. They make me angry, which shows in my writing for Irina Slav on energy. And if I need a break, I just go out and do some weeding. It's really therapeutic. It really helps because, I write about a lot of stupid people in positions of responsibility, and I cannot talk to these people. Is this from me? Sorry. The change in the lighting.
And it happens when I don't activate my screen. So I've got my finger
Oh,
here moving the mouse.
it's messy.
It's your computer, I think, saving battery.
My computer should be plugged in. It is. Anyway, so yeah, because I cannot communicate with these people directly and ask them the questions I would like to ask them, like, why are you being so stupid and suicidal with low energy policies? I go out and weed. It's productive. I do my plants good and I do myself good because I take a break and feel better afterwards. So that's how we started. I wanted to share this because it just, family living in the country, doing things, failing at things, having some successes. So, yeah.
I was wondering whether I even should ask this, but I know a lot of our listeners will probably identify with this question, and you hinted at it earlier. Overwhelm. There's just a lot going on at the moment, and the energy industry is now arguably in front of everyone's minds
Yeah.
for obvious reasons. What makes you feel overwhelmed, if anything, and if it does, how do you deal with that?
Oh, the sheer amount of things, the number of things that are happening on a daily basis, the scale of this crisis that we're in, and that a lot of people haven't realized yet, but they will in a few months. And the fact that a lot of people who should be making responsible decisions at this point in time are making the most irresponsible decisions I could imagine.
Yeah, and so it's the frustration because there's nothing you can do
Yeah,
about it, and also I feel this anyway sometimes. Not fear, but concern for
yeah,
others. I mean, you and I, in a way, we're privileged in that we have a front row seat. Privilege in air commas there, in air quotes. Privilege that we have a front row seat to what's coming, but most don't realize,
uh-huh,
and we feel concern for that, and that's also triggers overwhelm. I
yeah.
imagine gardening, I can certainly see how that would be an outlet. I'm still trying to figure out how to deal with mine. Often it's taking my dog for a walk, but that's about it.
Yeah, being out in the open,
Yes.
just changing the scenery, that helps. Yeah.
Yeah. And learning about different things as well. I try and carve out some time every morning to read a book because, again, scrolling all day and just going through all of the media headlines is, again,
It's
creates a lot of,
exhausting,
it's
nothing else.
exhausting.
Really exhausting. Yeah, I've also taken up knitting. This
What?
helped here. Yeah, yeah, because I needed something to do with my hands that had nothing to do with any kind of, news, any kind of this information
And
that
that's such a good, mental reset as well because 'cause you're counting. If I sound like I know what I'm talking about here, it's total coincidence, but I imagine knitting involves counting?
sometimes, yeah, but mostly it involves paying attention to the to the actual process of knitting to keep
Nice.
it even. Yeah, I really enjoy that too.
Okay,
It's
and I
good for
guess
the brain.
Yeah, exactly, and I guess the takeaway is it's important for all of us who are in a similar situation to have w a way to
Things to
cope.
do.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
have a way to cope, to
exactly.
reset, to realize that, things are scary maybe, but life goes on, life is good, and we have to appreciate the smaller things. Now onto some newslettery things with the whole work-life balance stuff, but newslettery things. In terms of, audience growth, what has worked for you?
Well, I think what changed things for me was that I stopped trying to be serious because my first posts on Substack were longer than I usually write in my old oil price pieces, but they were serious. I was trying to be as serious as I am on oil price. And I wasn't having a lot of fun and I wasn't attracting many readers, not least because I don't know how to market myself. I can't, post, please read my blog here and post this on my X account or something. I don't want to do that because it sounds like I'm forcing myself on people. So I said, well, stop it. Let's just be unserious. Let's mock everything and just write the way I think without self censoring, without any regard for polite company. And suddenly my numbers exploded, not least because Bloomberg recommended me. That
Interesting.
was, yeah, that was a stroke of luck.
And it also highlights the scarcity of truly authentic voices out there. But again, that is so interesting because I have struggled sometimes with if I'm really authentic, I'm going to maybe alienate a lot of readers. But the correct approach could well be so. They weren't going to stick around for long, anyways, for other reasons.
Maybe it depends on the audience,
Yeah.
because I think most of the people who came to my Substack after these first uncertain, hesitant months were people who were there for the fun, for the comedy of it, because most of my readers are a lot better informed than me on energy matters. They're engineers, they're people from the oil industry and from the wider energy industry. They know a lot more than me,
Mm.
but they have fun with my writing.
Yeah. So they're not coming for the education part of it. They're coming for the refreshing voice
Yeah,
and your
yes.
personal take.
They learn stuff from what I write, which is really pleasing as well. But
Yeah.
a lot of them are there just because I try to make fun of things that are not funny at all.
Mm. That is
The opposite.
interesting. That's interesting and also inspiring. And now that you mentioned that, the posts of mine that have done the best are when I am having a rant about something. Normally, I'm a buttoned up analyst normally, and I'm dissecting how stable coins are going to influence geopolitics, kind of thing. And I'm very people tell me that I'm sober, I guess, which for an Irish person is quite a compliment. But but there are times I get upset. It doesn't happen often, but when, as you know, I don't know if you have any Irish friends, when we get upset, we get upset, and they are the posts that perform the best. So I guess the takeaway is just let rip sometimes. Don't be so sober.
Yeah, because there's a lot of serious writing, good, really excellent serious writing, such as yours. But I think we perceive information and internalize this information much better when there is a bit of fun in it.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And as you pointed out at the beginning, it's just more fun to do. And I think neither of us are doing what we're doing because we have to. I mean, sure,
Yeah,
be nice to have good income from this, but I would do it anyway.
that's how writing works. If you're really into writing, you'll do it whether you get paid or not. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been asked before, what does success look like? And it's not a number. It's just,
Mm.
being able to do what I do.
Exactly. I'm very, very grateful for fate circumstances um, about that because I can afford, in terms of time, in terms of money, to do what I really love doing.
Yeah. And again, you've worked hard to get to that stage, so it's deserved,
It
but
also,
it's also
yeah,
lucky,
it
isn't it?
doesn't feel like hard work.
Yeah. Yeah. That's also success right there. Now,
Yeah.
what's your take on social media?
Whoa. Uh, It's as positive as it is negative, which is not anything original to say, but I think it has really managed to shake trust in mainstream media, which is a good thing because mainstream media is made up of huge corporations with political agendas and all that. So they're always biased, I'm sorry to say it. And social media in the past few years, especially after Elon Musk bought X, Twitter, we have all seen very plainly just how biased mainstream media is. Not just about energy, about anything. This would not have been possible without social media. I'm not sure about the other platforms. I left Facebook in 22 and I'm not going back. But it does provide for, well, it offers freedom. Anyone could be a reporter now. Of course, there's a lot of fakery as a result of that, which is, equally positive as it's negative. But maybe when it comes to social media versus legacy media, I think it has been more positive overall because mainstream media engages in fake news as well, not just the sort that some politicians call fake news, but actual fakery. So, and in that sense, social media has been it's kind of served to correct course to provide people with some actual reporting.
Mm. Do you, say how to draw this into my question about Substack? Substack is a publishing platform, and I'm going to ask you in a minute what you like about Substack and what could improve. But it's also easing into the social media sphere with its notes. What's your take on the social media side of Substack versus the social media platforms such as X? Are you active on both? I've seen you on both. I know that doesn't translate
You
to being
mean the
active.
notes?
Do you use either regularly?
Well, I don't use it so much to posts, but I do forward everything I write for my Substack there.
Yeah, so
I,
it's
I
shared.
honestly
It's
don't
shared.
have the time to engage on so many platforms. That's the truth.
Yeah, time or energy because it's draining. It really is. I use X for information more than anything else, and every now and then I post regularly photos of this beautiful city I live in, and
I
occasionally
saw some of them.
it's
Great.
it's such a beautiful city. I feel I have to share it.
Ridiculous.
Um, Funnily enough, any comment I may post on macro or anything, it doesn't get the same kind of engagement as my posts on Madrid. So just might as well just make it a tourism account. Why not? But social media is obviously one way that many newsletter writers use to promote their stuff. But I agree with you. I'd rather spend the time learning and writing than the marketing that requires.
Oh no, I've given up on marketing. I can't do marketing. No.
Yeah,
No.
it's exhausting. And also feel if you don't feel it, then it's not. I don't know. I think I'm pretty bad at it. So, I did say I wanted to move
But
on
we still
to.
do it. We
Well,
still get
you got to
readers.
do. You have to do a bit. I mean, yeah, but also I think just publishing and Substack. I think is very good on that. It does help
Oh yeah.
surface your stuff. So that's one thing I think Substack does really well. What else do you think Substack? Is there anything else you think Substack does really well? What's been
Oh yeah.
it's
The user interface is the easiest platform to use, especially compared to some others I've used in the past. It is just lovely to use. At one point, I was starting to get annoyed with some new features I didn't need and changes that I really didn't need. But that's over now. It's all
mm,
good. I can understand they try to be fresh. It's a
mm.
thing in the tech industry, I believe.
Really? Yeah.
Constantly refresh yourself. I disagree with that, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's still a great place.
Yes. Again, fresh versus friction. Really, the fresher you
Mm.
try to be, sometimes the more friction there is. I personally value Substack's handling of the finances for me. I don't really want to think
Oh,
about that part.
yes, yes. Good point.
Yeah.
Excellent point.
Just
That's
get a deposit every month and don't have to worry about it. What do you think Substack could do better on?
I don't know. I was going to say maybe make it easier to get in touch with an actual human being, but they have made that easier compared to a couple of years ago or last year, was it? I needed them for something, and the bot was there. First of all, their bot is very helpful, surprisingly. I
Yeah.
distrust bots, but it has been helpful. And when I asked for a human being, they did put me in contact with a human being. So they're really, really great on that too.
Okay, that's useful to know. I was interacting with their support bot this morning when you flagged to me that you got a reminder of the session saying that you
Oh,
had to
yeah,
connect via your phone. And I know you don't. I mean, they support
as we can
Live.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Substack Live has supported desktop since December, I think it is. So I was flagging them there saying, by the way, you might want to change this. And it wasn't terribly helpful, and I don't think anything will happen, but at least hope I did what I could there. So, yes, they will eventually get around to fixing. It's just changing the wording of the message that goes out.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And there are other issues with Substack Live. But again, if evolution is what matters more than perfection, shall we say?
Absolutely. And
Yep.
they are trying and they're working to make things better. Unlike some big tech majors I could name, but I will not, that
So
are
save that
working
for a
hard
post. Save that for a
to
post.
make, yeah, to make things worse
Yeah.
and less well working than they were before.
What has been your experience with video?
On
How
Substack.
Yeah, I know you've done videos in the past. How has that is that something you want to continue? Did video work for you, and if so, why?
Uh, for a thing to work, either on Substack or on any other platform, you need to do it consistently. I have not been very consistent with video. I did this sit down comedy, short videos, and I enjoy doing them. But then I found out I didn't really have the time, or something was wrong, or I wasn't in the mood, or wasn't feeling funny enough, even though I have plenty of material on a daily basis. So I really can't speak to the failure or success of it because I didn't keep it up.
Hmm,
The one thing that I find is an absolute must with posting is consistency. You have to do it regularly, regardless of just how frequent you post or videos are. So
yeah,
yeah, I'll maybe at some point I'll give it another try and try to do it more regularly, and then I could, get back to you about that.
yeah. The time management is always an issue, and so few of us realize that every time we tell ourselves, "I'm going to do more of this," that does mean doing less of something else because it's not as if we have a lot of idle time in our day.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we always have to choose, okay, what do I do less of if I do more of that? I tried audio reads of. I know you do this as well, actually. Audio reads of your
Yeah.
newsletter. Is that you, or do you use?
It is you. It is me. Yeah.
Wow, how do you find the
It is me.
time?
I've stopped doing it lately. I don't really know why. I was like, I don't feel like reading it, or I have something to do and it won't sound right, so I'll drop it. If somebody complains about the lack of audio, I'll start doing it again. I promise. But
Yeah.
nobody has complained so far.
Well, they are fun listens, although I generally prefer to read. I tried audio reads of my newsletter, and people appreciated it. I did polls sometimes, etc. They all wanted audio, but I hated it. I hated doing it because for me, while it's pretty easy to do, and I don't have a problem talking on audios, I don't hate the sound of my voice anymore as I did when I was younger. It just was again, an hour out of my day that I wasn't researching and writing, and I
Mhm.
resented that sacrifice. I wasn't learning anything when I was reading what I had
And
already
if you
written.
hate doing it, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's what I figure, but every now and then I do wonder, I probably should have persisted longer, but life is short, time moves
Not
on.
if you hate it. Not if you hate it. If
Yeah.
you hate it, don't do it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you for the validation. I will. I'm so relieved. I'm so
Very
relieved.
welcome.
Um, can I talk about your pricing strategy? You have one of the most reasonably priced Substacks out there. Is it something that you think about ever?
No, I live in a country with low prices, which means that I can set my Substack prices lower than I imagine an American poster would be able to, which has worked for me just well. I can't complain about my income from Substack. I'm very happy with it, and as I said, payment processing is easy. I have had almost no problems. So, and I don't feel the need to raise my prices, especially in the current economic situation, people are not getting richer right now, and I can understand that. And I'm not doing it for the money.
And I think that's the key. And I think that also
Yeah,
shows
probably.
comes through in the authenticity. And you're not trying necessarily to grow. You're just trying to find an outlet for your voice and your thoughts. And by being authentic, you find it. And your low price certainly will remove a barrier that many newsletters have. Substack gets expensive.
I don't know. Everybody is free to set their own prices. It's like how they price their work, I
Yeah,
guess.
indeed. And again, so the luck, not luck. It's not even really a luxury of being able to have the freedom to not depend on this for 100% of our income, but
Yeah.
it does make it a lot less stressful and a lot easier
Oh,
to
definitely.
manage. We have a
Having
question from Christopher. Thanks so much, Christopher.
hello.
For those of us with vast sways of idle time, the challenge is using my contemplative time pointlessly. Oh, God, Christopher, yes, I've
I
been
can
there so
relate to
much.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, we spend so much time trying to understand what's happening today out there in the full knowledge that a year from now it won't matter much.
That's a bit of a scary thought, but you're absolutely right.
I
Yeah.
mean, it will matter for the history books for sure, because what we're witnessing is going to be in the history books. But so much of the daily cognitive consumption, again, something we won't really remember.
Mm.
Whereas planting a herb garden, knitting a sweater, definitely things that last much longer. Now, Irina, I want to let's cast ourselves back. What piece of advice would you give yourself of a year ago? If you could go back in time a year, what
Just a year.
advice?
And knowing what I know now, I assume.
Yeah, let's start with 1 year, and then I'm going to expand it to say 10 years.
Well, if we're talking about 1 year ago, we said brace up, interesting times are coming. Even more interesting than times have already been for the past couple of years.
Yes, and that curse now that we all know so well. May you live in interesting times.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think my advice would be buy gold, but apart from that, it would be experiment with video more. I regret not experimenting more with video. Again, time management, and it just seems like something so peripheral, but it's something that we know people value.
Yeah.
And I took the decision earlier this year to get over yourself and do something that scares you. And since video has always scared me a bit, especially producing it myself. Not that this is producing, if you know what I mean. I press a button, but it scared me. So this is doing something that scared me. Okay, now
You did it.
what? Hmm? Hmm?
But you did it.
I did it. Do something that scares you. It's a good life philosophy, except every now and then it's just exhausting. Going back, say 10 years, what advice would you give yourself?
What year was it 10 years ago?
Yeah.
2016. Oh, I don't know. That's the time around that time that I started writing for Oil Price full time. Well, full time meaning on a daily basis. Ah, I really don't know. Maybe I would have told myself to start paying attention to the energy transition earlier.
Hmm.
Start asking some questions. Pay attention because things are going to get really interesting in that department.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. I hadn't thought much about things that I'd missed. I think I missed early on the impact of stablecoins. I got into the crypto industry because of Bitcoin. I grew up in Central Africa, and from just realizing what Bitcoin could do for that part of the world is what drew me in. And I thought stablecoins were boring. And now we see stablecoins reshaping geopolitics and monetary policy. So
That's
yeah,
really, yeah, but
stablecoins.
these are the things we can only learn in
Yeah.
hindsight.
You're right, and then don't you find yourself sometimes wondering, "What am I missing today? What am I dismissing today that will be important 10 years from now?"
I don't dare ask that question right now.
You sleep better as a result, right? You sleep better as a
Right now, I just don't dare ask that question.
Yep, me, I tear my hair out every day on that one. But, okay, as we wrap up here, is there what one piece of advice would you give anyone thinking of starting to write a newsletter now? We hear so many people that are stuck in jobs they find frustrating. Maybe they're writing for mainstream media and are frustrated about what they can't say, or they're a specialist working for an industry business and they want more freedom to express themselves. What advice would you give them?
Well, the advice I would give everyone who wants to try their hand at writing on Substack is something very simple, but it's not easy. You have to keep at it. You have to do it regularly. That's first of all, that's the only way you would be able to polish your reading to make it easier as time goes by, and that's the way that's worked for me to build an audience and keep it.
Yeah, that's
Because
very true. That's very
people
true.
get
And
used to regular posting, not, getting surprised by a post once every 2 months or something, unless, of course, that's the pace the writer would like to keep. But just
yeah.
do it regularly and
Yeah.
don't give up.
Yeah, I think that's also key because so many start out with unrealistic expectations and life happens, work commitments, family commitments, life happens, it
Yeah.
moves down the priority list. And let's face it, people are busy often.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've always thought newsletters are habits, really. I mean, one of the reasons we like to get them into our email boxes is that it creates a habit, be it daily, be it
Exactly.
weekly. And
And we like
that's,
habit. We're
yes,
creatures of habit.
exactly. So regularity is definitely important. And I've been pulling on something you said earlier. Don't be afraid of being wrong as long as you're humble about it and just be
Absolutely.
yourself. Be yourself. Don't then again, so many of us also struggle with what we call imposter syndrome, as in people are gonna find out I don't know what I'm talking about because as you said, there's
That's why
always
I admit it openly.
yes, there's always readers who
Makes
know
sense.
more and they're gonna know that they're gonna spot the one mistake I made here or maybe the 5 mistakes, who knows? And that holds many people back. But
Just be honest about it. I
yes.
mean, honesty it really is the best policy.
It really is. And we all know that even just the top experts in any field get things wrong sometimes. We're human, all of us. And the ultimate benefit, I think, of the emerging well, I would say newsletter industry is we're sharing. We get to hear
Yep.
from original voices in niche areas or even not so niche areas with unique experiences. And we get to choose. We're not fed it, we pull it. And
Mm,
that, I think, is one of the exciting evolutions of
it is.
media.
It is.
Irina, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank
This has
you.
been such a fun conversation. I've
It
really
was.
appreciated. Again, any listeners, do follow Irina on Substack. Do subscribe to her newsletters. Seriously, worth it, every single one.
Thank you.
And
And that's how you're doing marketing for me. Thank you.
happy to
For
help on that front.
free.
So much more satisfying than doing marketing for me, certainly, I assure you. But no, and I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't really value your work and feel confident that so many
Thank
other
you. Thank you
people
so much.
will as well. So thank you. Enjoy your weekend. Say hello to your garden for us. And
Thank you. I will.
hopefully get to talk to you very soon. And thanks
I hope
everyone for
so.
joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you, people. So many of you.
Going to sign off now.